you guys have probably had this happen to you before, where your worst is compared to somebody else's best. I'll give you an example. Again, as a younger man dating this gal, she made a comparison between me and this other guy. So I'm a startup entrepreneur doing real well. I think my business at the time was doing like 80 grand a month in receivables. It was me and one other employee. So it was super profitable. Incredibly proud of myself, doing fantastic. And I remember she compared me to one of her girlfriends. I think it was her husband at the time, or fiance or something like that. Regardless, it was like, Rich, why can't you be more like Bill? Let's just use something like socks. Bill puts his socks in, he puts his white socks in the white hamper and his dark socks in the dark hamper. Why can't you be more like Bill? Like, basically expressing contempt because you're not giving her level of satisfaction or whatever that her friend receives from Bill, who follows his fiance's or wife's instructions to put the white socks in a white hamper and the dark socks in a dark hamper. And it's like, so my worst is I'm not putting the socks in the hampers the way that you'd like to see them organized. But let's overlook the fact that I managed to create a business out of thin air that can produce $80,000 a month. But Bill, works for the city making, I don't know, fucking $32 an hour or something like that. Like, let's just breeze over the other accomplishment. So the notion of comparing a man's worst to another man's best is always comical. It will always happen. It's probably happened since the beginning of time. It'll always continue to happen. And this is, again, like one of the scenarios where it's like, this guy's like, hey, I'm running a great business. I'm busy all day. And it's like, your belt doesn't match your shoes sort of thing, and that's usually where it starts to go into comparisons and comparing your worst to somebody else's best, and their best kind of sucks compared to your worst sort of thing. You get the, you get the idea.
Really? Is that what you want, Gary? Is that what you want?
Yeah.
That's what you want?
Yeah.
Fine. Great. Do whatever the hell you want. You leave your socks all over this house, dress like a pig, play your stupid ass video game. I don't care. I'm done.
What?
I am done. I don't deserve this. I really do not deserve this. I deserve somebody who gives a shit. I'm not spending one more second of this life with some inconsiderate prick. You're a prick.
And how many of you guys now have just seen like some version or some example of some relationship that you've had in the past that's just been mirrored to you in this breakdown here? I'm going to grab the call-in link again because I'm going to take some call-ins in just a moment. Invite, copy. I'll just put it in all chat over here so it's easy for you guys. Call in and ask a question. And that's pinned to the top of live chat of YouTube if you guys are looking for it. Yeah, there's a lot more to say, and there's a lot of nothing else to say. Again, the vast majority of a lot of these types of conflicts that arise in a long-term relationship can, for the most part, be completely avoided or minimized dramatically simply by not living with the chick. They'll always push for it. And then, because you love a woman and you care for her and, you want to be around her and you think that it'll be better for both of you. Maybe it's more convenient. Maybe it's, like one of the things that I see a lot of guys do is like they're way up here and they got their shit together. They maybe have their own house and she's broke and doesn't have anything. And I don't know, her lease is expiring, a roommate moved out or whatever that happened to fucking, be. And they're like, just move into my place or let's move in together. And it's like a convenience thing. And it's like, maybe your cost of living goes down a little bit because you think, oh, well, we'll split the utilities or, we'll split the groceries, or you take care of the groceries and I'll take care of the utilities. And you figure out, it's whole complicate life, justify why in your head. And it's like all of that to save a couple of bucks a month when you trade the small savings that you might see on your bank statement for another set of problems. Proximity, familiarity. Exclusivity is the other itty, by the way. I've broken this down in several parts of my new book. We're watermarking it right now. So if you're already in the community, guys, you're going to get a draft copy of the new book with a watermark to sort of go through and provide some feedback. We're going to try to organize a little better, make sure we've made everything as clear as possible. But these three idiots are one of the things that I've talked about in the book that I've come across myself personally in the last year. And it's like proximity, familiarity, and exclusivity. And two of these are completely thrown out the window and more problematic when you live with a chick. You know, the movie's called The Breakup. They're living together. They've got their friend circle. They do all kinds of, coupley stuff together. And then she has a hissy fit at the end of the scene, calls him a prick, and storms out of there and says that I deserve better. All right, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that clip. If you want to check out the full-length podcast episode, you can find that right over here. Also, make sure you visit my website over here where you'll find my supplements, the opportunity to book me privately one-on-one for coaching, and most importantly, my new School of Unplugging, which you'll find on the courses tab. Newer to the channel, hit subscribe.